Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Evan Teague, with me like always, the man who is definitely not missing E3, Noah Bailey. So yeah, we have a ton of stuff to talk about today, but we'll be starting with the fact that it's not official yet, but probably WarnerMedia will be merging with Discovery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard about those.
Yeah, so just a brief little timeline of things. I believe it was like 2015 or 16. AT&T merged with the Time Warner company, which is insane that a giant telecom multimedia company can just be eaten up by a bigger telecom company. Like WarnerMedia, Time Warner is huge, and AT&T basically just does like telephone and internet, and they just your mind now. Like, are you kidding me? Okay.
Shark.
So yeah, like that went through in 2017, I think, and then AT&T rebranded the Time Warner company as WarnerMedia. I believe they had to like sell off the telecom part of Time Warner. Like that became Spectrum. It's a whole thing. It's monopolies are dumb because like if they didn't sell it off, then they'll technically be a monopoly. But now, whatever.
It makes no
like I legitimately don't know
sense, but kind of makes.
I legitimately don't know how this was allowed to go through in the first place because these companies were so big. Whatever, I don't make the rules.
Right.
But now AT&T has announced that WarnerMedia is merging with Discovery. Like I am a business major and I don't understand how that makes sense. Like I don't understand why, like maybe it was like technically a better deal to do it this way as opposed to AT&T just outright buying Discovery and having them collaborate, kind of similar to how Universal owns both Illumination and DreamWorks, and they like collaborate on things sometimes. I guess it's technically a better deal for WarnerMedia and Discovery to merge. I don't know. What exactly this will mean for either WarnerMedia or Discovery is a little up in the air right now. We're not entirely sure if any subsidiaries of WarnerMedia will be disbanded because of this, or if it'll even be called WarnerMedia anymore, if it'll just be like Warner Discovery or just Discovery, or we're not sure. And for anyone like unaware of what all Discovery is, essentially that's the new it's everything that's on that new streaming platform Discovery Plus, so stuff like Food Network, HGTV, just that kind of vibe.
Like Animal Planet.
Yeah. Is Animal Planet on there?
I think so.
Because I know National Geographic is on Disney.
Let's see, WarnerMedia. Yeah, Discovery Channel, Animal Planet, Food Network, TLC. Yeah, all that's in there.
Yeah, TLC is such a weird. Like you see commercials for Discovery Plus, and it's like you got Oprah stuff, you got HGTV, Food Network, and 16 and Pregnant. Like what?
Yeah, it's always that or like the like my 600-pound life. Wow.
Right.
All right. What a channel. Like
okay.
All right.
I'm not gonna judge. It's just like one of those things and not seem like the other, but okay.
Yeah, I mean it's like their showtime. It's like it's also here, but you didn't ask for it.
Okay, sure. So I think the thing that I'm most curious about is will they do a thing similar to Disney when they purchased Fox, where they just kind of kept Hulu around and also had Disney Plus, or will they kind of fold in Discovery Plus in with HBO Max? Like, do you think HBO Max and Discovery will stay two different entities, or do you think they'll kind of?
Well, I'm going is like I think it based on how much Discovery Plus really has, because I mean, again, I don't know, but I feel like obviously, more people have HBO Max than Discovery Max. I feel like if they just kind of threw that in there, it would just make HBO Max, kind of what they kind of were seeing when they were doing with DC Universe is kind of like, okay, we're just gonna put this in HBO Max, because honestly, HBO Max, I remember at first I was like, HBO Max isn't really easy to have enough, but I mean, they've kind of added more to it, thrown more in it, and now I'm like, okay, maybe it's definitely worth having, so I think that might be the move, especially like
comparatively. I personally don't feel it's worth $15 a month compared to Disney Plus. But since they have fused HBO with DC Universe stuff, having it all in one place, it is definitely more enticing. The thing about Discovery Plus is that almost generally speaking, aside from arguably Animal Planet, everything that Discovery Plus has, it's all content that you just kind of have on in the background, or like moms watch after they get home. That's kind of it. Like literally, my parents were discussing the other day about just completely like doing away with like our Dish Network service and just getting Discovery Plus, because basically all she watches on there is HGTV and Food Network. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, my parents have done the same thing. I mean, we got rid of streaming got rid of cable last year just because it was like, I mean, my dad just likes Downton Abbey, so we just have PBS and stuff. So it's like, that's all we really need.
But like, yeah, like we would miss the ability to just kind of turn on the TV and just kind of see what's on, but you can just do that with Netflix or HBO or whatever else. My dad would miss sports, but he can get over it. So it's gonna be, I am very curious how well Discovery Plus is currently doing for them, because it is only $5 a month. For content that, like, if you really like this kind of content, like it's all there for you. So like, I'm sure the people that are getting it are getting value out of it. I'm just curious how much that value, like how important is that value to WarnerMedia or whatever the new, company that after the merger will be. Like, will they see it as valuable enough to keep it by itself? Or is it like, oh, if this content was folded into HBO, that would further bolster, that would make the $15 of HBO even more worth it? Or they think if they fold them together, would they increase the price? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think they should, because honestly, I don't think Discovery Plus, like, I know they have it on its own for $5 a month, but I don't think it's a worthy enough property to already boost their kind of a little what's the word, kind of aggressive price of 15 already up to like 20 or even like 17.50 or something. Like, I'd be kind of
I think 17.50 is about as high as they can get away with, especially since Discovery is only $5. HBO doesn't necessarily feel worth it right now for some people. Like, if you're not a nerd, it's really not the best. Like, like we watch, like John Oliver every week. We watch, DC movies, and like the ability to watch movies in theaters and HBO at the same time. That's a really good thing they're doing right now, although they're gonna stop doing that soon. So yeah, I'm just curious how, for the long run, how I guess, like, what exactly is the overarching plan for HBO with Discovery Plus in mind, if at all? So
I don't know. Maybe there's another move we're not seeing, but we'll see.
Yeah. The one thing that we actually do know about this merger is that even though we don't know anything about the name or what exactly the structure will be like, the only thing we know about right now, as far as I could read, is the head of WarnerMedia, I did not write names down. The head of WarnerMedia is apparently getting ousted, and the head of Discovery is going to be heading this new merged company. The reason why that seems important is, according to all the people on Twitter, it was the head of WarnerMedia. That was the guy who was like getting in the way of the Snyder Cut to exist. Like that guy and Jeff Johns were the main people who were behind everything that kind of happened with 2017 Justice League, everything with, you know, Ray Fisher's issues and everything. They're apparently the ones blocking the ability to release the Snyder or restore the Snyderverse or whatever. So ironically, it is now more possible that the Snyderverse can go forward, assuming Snyder still wants to, now that these companies have merged, even though I don't think anybody at the corporate level even like considered that as a possibility. Like I don't, it would be insane for this to be like, okay, we need a way to oust this guy from WarnerMedia but we can't outright fire him because we need the Snyderverse to exist. Like that sounds insane, right?
Or it doesn't.
I don't know. Like how like that's a lot of millions of dollars, probably actually a couple of billions of dollars to throw around for a company just merger just to please some very loud fans on Twitter.
Yeah, I know, but still, I mean, I don't think this is directly because of that by any means, but if it theoretically does, opens this door, then maybe, oh man.
Yeah.
Like,
and on this graphic that
let it go.
Once this merger was announced, this graphic came out that was like, you know, going forward, we will hope to utilize all the different, you know, new and unique IPs of these two different brands to their fullest. And they had a huge list of brands from the Discovery side and the WarnerMedia side. And on the WarnerMedia side, it did include Zack Snyder's Justice League, which Warner Brothers specifically hasn't really acknowledged much. Like they haven't really released many like numbers for how well it's done. They haven't really promoted it that much after launch. Whereas this new graphic from AT&T is actually promoting Snyder Cut front and center. That's the thing.
Please, no. Let it go. Please let it die.
I don't. It's not that I don't want fans to be happy. I think it's that I don't want these fans to be happy. I don't want these specific, because they already got what they wanted once. They already bullied these people.
Yes.
These poor interns who had to man the Twitter account for years. And Warner Brothers literally said the only reason we're doing this is because you guys, you know, wanted it so badly. They already got what they wanted, and then after they got what they wanted, they couldn't help but ask for more, which we all knew would happen. And now it seems increasingly more likely that their constant badgering will get them even more of what they want. Again, assuming Snyder actually wants to continue in this world. And again, like, I think if the Snyder Cut was better for me, like if I actually liked it more than I did, which was not a lot, I would be more okay with this. But because it was so bloated, so unnecessarily unnecessary, just so many questionable decisions made throughout that movie, I don't want more of it, at least right now. But I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I hope that, don't get it. Yeah, like, I mean, like you said, like, I'm not like rooting for fans to have their like hearts broken, but it's like we've been pretty clear. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Zack Snyder's work, especially with DC properties. So, like, personally, I kind of want to just be like gone. But I mean, we'll have to see. I hope this doesn't. I don't think so, because again, I don't know why they. Yeah, if they haven't been very clear about like the numbers with the new Justice League, Snyder Cut, whatever. Like, I don't know. Usually, that's not a good sign, is it? I mean,
I
know this is different, but
so to put it into perspective, they announced the like record-breaking numbers of Wonder Woman 84 the week, like the Monday after it launched. Same with Mortal Kombat. Same with Godzilla versus Kong. They announced the launch weekend numbers for those movies very shortly after those movies launched on HBO. They didn't do that for Snyder Cut. I think something that these people don't aren't really seeing is the fact that I think the only reason they're doing that is to say, hey, the whole simul release on streaming and in theaters is working. We are getting a lot of views in both places. Wonder Woman did decently enough at the box office, and it drove HBO MAX subscriptions. Same with Godzilla. Same with Mortal Kombat. And we're just presenting this information to show, basically just to show investors, this is working for us right now. The Snyder Cut, I believe, from a corporate standpoint, is less important. I think, which might be a little short-sighted because they know how rabid of a fan base he has. Like probably a not insignificant number of people got HBO just to watch the Snyder Cut and then probably canceled almost immediately. So it probably is a little short-sighted of them to not want to prioritize, pleasing those fans. But at the same time, I understand their situation where they're like, we can't give in to every demand they have, and I understand that. So.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. We'll see how this goes, but I'm hoping that this doesn't mean what we think it might mean. It's a stretch now, but
yeah, like there's a chance that the head of Discovery who will lead this new company doesn't even care about DC content. Like he doesn't even like want anything to do with that stuff. Like I think that would be dumb of them to do, but it's a possibility that it could get even worse for DC stuff,
right?
Like, in general. So this, like I said, this merger hasn't even gone through yet. It probably won't even take into effect until next year, and then we probably won't actually see like the real effects of it until 2023, if there are any like noticeable effects. But it's just something to kind of keep in back of your mind, because I think the Disney Fox merger didn't actually go through until like mid 2019 when it first kind of got going, like late 2018. So, and yeah, we haven't gotten any major Fox content in Disney in Marvel movies yet. So it's a couple of like at least a year and a half to 2 years out before the fruits of this will actually be visible. But speaking of HBO and DC content, it was announced today actually that a new Batman animated series is coming to HBO called Batman: The Caped Crusader.
Okay. I have not heard this actually. This is okay. So this is brand new.
I would recommend googling the poster for this. Like it.
Okay, I need to check this out.
The poster for this looks. The Batman has like the curved ears from the 60s.
Oh my!
Like there's some era of Batman comics where he has like those like horn curved like horns almost. The cover, like the logo looks very animated series, like 90s animated series esque.
Okay, let's see what we've got here. Okay. Oh, J.J. Abrams. Oh boy.
Yes. So okay.
Bruce Timm. Okay, I trust that one.
Matt Reeves. Bruce Timm, Matt Reeves, and J.J. Abrams are like the showrunners of this. Like so that as far as
one of those I see differently than the other.
So, me too, but for not the same one that you're thinking of. Actually.
Probably not.
So Matt Reeves obviously is making the newest Batman movie coming out next year. For everything we've seen so far, he seems to like understand Batman on a
But
level
we
that
haven't
most
seen a
people.
lot though, so that's what I'm
That's
saying. Like
true.
I'm
Yeah,
kind of
true. Like he hasn't gotten a win yet, but from what we've seen, Warner Brothers had clearly seen enough to let him continue with DC stuff. Um, I could argue J.J. Abrams, if he's like, if he's more, if he is there solely for like world building and like character development per se, I think that could be advantageous because he is really, really good at setting up potential greatness. The first couple of seasons of Lost, fantastic. The Force Awakens had a ton of potential. Like it was a solid movie, and then after that point, I really wanted to see more with this world and with these characters. He never knows how to stick the landing, as both of the franchises establish. But if they bring him in just to help with the lore and world building, I think that potentially could be advantageous. I don't trust him outside of that. I don't want him necessarily direct any major episodes. I don't want him to like really storyboard or anything. I just want him to like be the like world building guy. I think that's fine enough. Bruce Timm has kind of lost his way a bit when he's not paired with Paul Dini.
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking because I was like, because like when they're, it's like it's the duo. When they're together, it's magic. But it's like lately because Paul Dini hasn't been on as much stuff lately.
Yeah,
and with Bruce Timm, because I like Bruce, keeps them kind of yin and yang. Without one, it kind of
like I think Paul Dini was executive producer on some of the New 52 animated movies. Those are all pretty solid. Bruce Timm, I believe his most recent solo act was the Batman and Harley Quinn movie from 2016, which is very bad.
Yeah.
So
and in time that like
there's a chance that because Matt Reeves and J.J. Abrams are also there, like essentially what I'm picturing is J.J. Abrams is there for like world building and basic character development. Bruce Timm is there as like the Batman guy. Like he is the guy who is like has the longest exposure to Batman. He basically built the animated series from the ground up. Matt Reeves is like the main director guy. Like he's like the main guy who's like actually doing storyboarding and actually moving the show along. I think that combination, if those three do work well together, could work very well together. But we'll see how it lands. We'll see how it actually ends up. Because like I said, the poster alone gives off insane 90s animated series vibes. And the look of Batman is nothing we've really seen, at least from that poster, nothing we've really seen in animated form.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of wild. Like the closest thing it kind of reminds me of like Batman Year One, but even then it's kind of like not really. It's kind of its own thing. I don't know. I like it though. I kind of like it.
Yeah. Like when I initially saw it,
but I'm just scared.
Yeah, when I initially saw it, the horns did kind of throw me off. I've never loved that design, but like I don't hate it though.
Yeah, but
like I think they're just a little much. I think they kind of lose the Batman-esque idea when they're literal like bull horns. But
yeah, I mean in his defense, it does look kind of scarier, and
Yes.
it almost kind of looks like, you know, like a demon, like something out like, or like something from like Gargoyles or something.
Yes, I was gonna
like,
say, yeah, he looked more like a gargoyle, which I think
kind of makes sense. I mean, it was Batman,
yeah.
but
It like, especially if they do go, because something that I think Batman has kind of lost over, you know, really since the animated series ended, is Batman content more recently has kind of lost the gothic horror edge that Batman is really known for. Like ever since the animated series ended, everything is focused more on you know, his tech and, you know, sidekicks, and like just Gotham being more like closer to like a New York or a Chicago type place, when it's really like, you know, gothic buildings, gargoyles, like it's always dark. Like, just I really like the aesthetic of classic Gotham. So when you try to make it just feel like any other big city, kind of takes away from that. This poster at least gives off that vibe of, we're going back to the gothic horror aesthetic, and I really appreciate that.
yeah, I do, and like you know, it kind of, yeah, it goes back to more of the essential roots of Batman, kind of more creature of the night, you know, kind of just, instead of just, you know, me and I work alone except for my like unlimited camaraderie of, you know, I think we're on, I mean, what, like 10 sidekicks more or less?
At least 10 different people associated with Batman. Yeah. Four, arguably 5 Robins, depending on how you count. At least 3 Batgirls.
3 Batgirls. There's, you know, there's Harper Row. There's like Signal or whatever. I forget. I think it's Duke or something.
Is that Duke?
So, yeah, I think Duke. There's Batwing. That's 11.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you count Alfred, but like he's not in the field. But I mean, Alfred still.
Ace the Bat Dog.
Yeah, Bat Hound. Can't forget Bat Hound.
At least 10 different people at any given time that he can call on to help him do it.
But half of them have never been in anything other than comic books, basically, which is kind of like interesting. But
Harper Row was in Dark Side Apocalypse for half a second, then she died. But you know, it's fine.
Really?
I think she wasn't she?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I wasn't sure. I know she was like in Young Justice for half a second, which was kind of interesting. Young Justice is like the only thing that has like everybody.
They didn't.
Easy, but like
they didn't have a speaking line, but they might come back later. Like, yeah.
We'll see.
What is the story with Harper Row? Like, I know I've heard that name before. I know what she looks like. What is her deal?
She's like, okay, this might be kind of rough, so comic historians don't crucify me here. But like from what I remember reading about, basically she's kind of like a trouble kid, you know, shocker, a trouble kid who has like a rough home or everything. And I think she has like an abusive father, either like Tim Drake or Stephanie Brown, maybe. I don't totally remember, but she's like a later character, definitely. And then somehow gets involved with the whole crime fighting thing, and she has I forget her alias is like Bluebird or Blue Jay or something like that.
There's a Blue Jay somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's Harper Row Bluebird. That's what it is. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it's So
did she use the bow and arrow?
I don't believe so, but I think she is a gun, actually. I don't know, like which doesn't really make any sense, but I'm sure there's an explanation.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I'm sure she doesn't just light people up. I'm sure there's an explanation, but she has there's a lot of there's some comics around her. I just haven't personally explored them myself, just because there's a lot of comics out there.
Yeah. Who has time to read them all? I don't.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million Batman comics at this point. I mean, but yeah, there's a lot of characters. But yeah, they've just never really been touched. So I'm interested to see if Young Justice actually goes like all, because at this point, I think Young Justice, I mean, they haven't had much speaking parts, but I mean, even Batwoman's in it. They had, you know, they're already on Tim Drake. They had Jason Todd. I mean, Damian's been seen somewhat.
Yeah, there's gonna be probably like a 8 to 10 year time skip between seasons.
Yeah.
Or at least at least like if they're probably going to be like some kind of time skip where it's not going to be weird to see a Damian running around.
Yeah. Do you think they're just going to skip right to like Dick Grayson's Batman now? Do you think something like that would happen?
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised because next season, Jason Todd is absolutely showing up next season.
100%.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a 2 or 3 year time skip between seasons, and then after season 5, that's going to be Dick Grayson's Batman, and his Robin is Damian.
Okay, yeah, because I know that like Tim Drake's already kind of like he could do Red Robin, and they've already got Spoiler, they've already got a bunch. I mean, which is kind of intense. I'm like, wow, they went far. You know, I kind of just want. I feel like I just kind of want. Like, I like Young Justice. I kind of just wanted a Batman show just about them.
Yeah,
like the one episode around them.
I love this Batman voice. Like, there are very few people who do like one-off Batman stuff that I really, really like. Like the one from that weird like CG Batman cartoon from like 2013, didn't really love that one. The one from the Batman Year One animated movie, didn't really love that voice, but the one who does Young Justice, like they should get him to do more stuff. Like
I think that's, what is that, Bruce? Is it? I don't actually know. Is that Bruce Greenwood? Yeah, Bruce Greenwood. Yeah, I remember. It's pretty. That one's pretty solid. It kind of has that, but it has more of like it's a very authoritative voice. So it works.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of like that one more than the New 52 Batman movies. Batman.
Yeah.
Design wise too, I never really loved the design of the New 52 Batman movie.
Yeah, Batman. It doesn't seem as. It seems kind of plain. It's kind of like not as. I feel like it should have more going on for it than it does. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Like there definitely is something off about it. I can't quite put like. Yeah, I don't know what it is exactly, but there is missing something. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, there's always who's got the best costume and who's it's always the perfect Batman. Maybe maybe this next show will be the perfect like look and everything. I mean, we'll see. But yeah,
like I am very interested to see who they cast as Batman in that show. I don't think Kevin Conroy's coming back, at least for that.
I think Kevin Conroy's probably retiring the Batman voice at this point.
Yeah, like maybe
it's been what, like 25 plus years at this point? Because I mean, it started in 92, so we're
30. 30 this year.
Trying to feel old real quick. Oh man, yeah. So yeah, that makes So I think it's safe to call it a career. I mean,
That's
it's like it's like when you think about it's like when you think about when James Earl Jones is like still doing Darth Vader. You're just like, man, like
honestly,
kind of hot minute.
His voice doesn't sound nearly close to the same as it did 40 years ago.
Oh, it doesn't.
Lion King, you got all the new cast. Every single character is new except for James Earl Jones, who's just saying the same lines from before, so it sounds very noticeable that it's very different.
Yeah, but I mean,
whatever.
You gotta respect the craft. I mean, he's one of the OGs, and in the same way, Kevin Conroy's in good hands. I think there are guys, because I mean, like we talked about, Troy Baker also does a very good animated Batman. We've talked about.
Yeah, I definitely like his Joker a lot more than his Batman.
That is true.
His Batman, honestly, I'm listening to a couple of podcasts that he's been on. His Batman is essentially just like a deep, like a lower pitched him talking, which like is fine. Like not every single voice that a voice actor does is going to be drastically different,
right?
But going from hearing him talk normally going to his Batman, it's like I could tell.
Yeah.
But then going from his Batman, his Joker, unrecognizable.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think. Yeah, like if Mark ended up ever, not that I Joker as long as he can, but I mean, I know he loves it. But
yeah, like I think, like if you want the Mark Hamill-esque Joker, Troy Baker is like spot on, essentially a spot on impression. It's not quite as like gravelly, which even in the 90s he had that like kind of gruffness to Joker that I think really sells. There's this kind of mania to it. But Troy Baker still does a fantastic job. But like, if you wanted to keep casting him as Batman as well, I wouldn't necessarily be mad at that. But if you wanted some new guy in there, sure. If you wanted the guy from either the Young Justice or even the one from Long Halloween from the trailers, like that seemed to be fine. I know Troy Baker's in that too. So yeah, like I think the Batman Cape Crusader, it's in good hands. It, at least right now, theoretically, it's in good hands. As long as they pick, a decent cast to play all the characters, I think it'll be great.
I think it'll be good. I'm excited to see where this goes, but yeah, I'm definitely in for it.
So, I know this movie has been out now for almost a month. We are finally going to talk about Mortal Kombat. Okay. Thoughts? Just basic thoughts.
It happened.
Spoilers. It's been out for a month. Go.
Yeah, I mean, no spoilers for that. I kind of get what they were trying to do, but the fan service felt really forced.
Yes. 50% of the time there was like obvious fan service stuff. It felt very out of place. Like every single time someone said fatality, it didn't land.
No, yeah, right.
Like,
or like when he was like flawless victory, it was like, no, you did not even like
it was, but why did you say that?
Yeah, like that makes no sense. You would say it like that. No one talks like that. Like, what is that?
Or Scorpion saying, "Get over here," when that character doesn't speak English. Like that character hasn't spoken a lick of English this entire movie. No. He's just randomly saying, "Get over here."
No, so, come on. No, I didn't even think about that. Also, I don't know if I was like reading the subtitles wrong, but were they going back and forth between Chinese and Japanese in the subtitles?
Yes, and they kind of made a joke about that because Sub-Zero was talking in Chinese. I think Sub-Zero was talking in Chinese, and then Scorpion was like, I don't understand you, but I'm going to assume you blah, blah, blah. It was like Sub-Zero could talk in both, but Scorpion could only talk in one. So then like he kind of made a joke about not being able to understand him. But yes, that was the case.
Okay. I guess I missed that part.
But yeah, like it, I mean, yeah. There were like a couple of decent fan service moments that I thought actually worked very well. When Liu Kang, I will accidentally say Liu Kang when I mean Kung Lao, and Kung Lao when I mean Liu Kang often. Like,
my brother knows all the names. I did not. I knew like half of the names, and the other half they just like I was like I knew Sonya, I knew Jax, and like obviously Scorpion, I knew Raiden, I knew like Sub-Zero, but the other ones I was like,
I recognized pretty much every single name aside from the flying lady who got the fatality on her. I never heard that one, but pretty much every other name I had at least like heard of. But yeah, when Liu Kang was training with Kano, Liu Kang kept doing like the leg sweep, and Kano kept falling over. It was like, okay, now I'm ready. He kept leg sweep. Like, that is how that any person who just picks up any fighting game, they just spam down sweep. That is exactly how people play that game.
Because it's effective.
It is. And like, it's very basic, but it's really hard to counter if you don't know how. And also it's like a thing with Liu Kang specifically to do that. I think his legs are like, in the original Mortal Kombat, his character model had the longest legs, so it was just the easiest to do it with. It was still edited atrociously, but the fan service was fun. Like when like, there were so many just like one-off like little references here and there that like most of them just didn't land. It that kind of thing kind of bugs me with movies like this, because I feel like because almost every single line, every single image in this movie is trying to remind you of the game that this movie is based on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, then why does this movie exist if the only reason it exists is to be like, hey, you could be playing this right now? Oh, especially so when Jax is fighting that guy with the big hammer,
Mm-hmm.
they're fighting on like probably the most iconic stage in the original Mortal Kombat, like the bridge with a spike pit below.
Mm-hmm.
In the first Mortal Kombat, if you uppercut somebody as the final hit, they will fall off the bridge and land on the spikes. Jax crushes that guy's head and then just walks away. You're fighting over a huge spike pit in Mortal Kombat, and you don't even like push the corpse off into the spikes. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, was him crushing his head not enough fatality for you?
No, it wasn't actually. You don't just tease a spike pit and then don't push anybody into a spike pit.
Fair enough.
Just little things like that where it's like these creators, the creator of this movie clearly knew, like, had fan service front and center. He knew a lot of the imagery that fans wanted to see, yet didn't really know how to utilize them well at all, it seemed. Like, it was cool that Liu Kang did the like fire dragon thing in the shape of the Mortal Kombat logo, but then he awkwardly said fatality for Kung Lao. I'm like, why did you say that? I get that, like, Cabal wasn't the one that killed him, so you're not really getting revenge on.
Nope.
And it was so awkward. Like, whatever.
Like, it was very like forced. It was like you did not need to say any of that. But
or Shang Tsung just saying, your soul will be mine, just completely out of nowhere. It's like, we get it. That's just, he says that. Like, that's actually a reference to the original movies from the 90s, and that carried into the games. So, like, you're making a reference to the original movie, but like, you can't just say it without it meaning anything. I don't know. What was your opinion of Cole Young? Because that is not a character from any games. That is a character exclusive to this movie. What was
right
of that guy?
And we got my brother was kind of like, who's this guy? I was like, I think he's like the what's the word? It's like the vicarious character, like the viewer plays.
Yeah, the viewer insert. Yeah.
That's the field term. But yeah, it's like, and I was like, and then my brother was like, why? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, but I mean, it wasn't the worst. It was kind of, I mean, he was kind of a bland character, but I mean, I think that's the idea. So I mean,
but Sonya Blade is right there. Sonya and Jax are that character already. Like, Sonya doesn't have a mark on her. She's trying to figure this out. Cole is just there with her. Like, she's kind of already the main character. Whatever.
Yeah, I know. And it was, especially with like Sonya and Jax already have like a good relationship. Like, that would have been a good plot, this whole thing. And like, you kind of really didn't at all need the character. He kind of was there just because, like, I think they really just wanted an insert for some reason, because, like, you know, if I guess I don't know.
Like, either have oh no, I'm already blanking on his name. Liu Kang be the main character like he was in the 90s movie. Have Sonya and Jax be the main character.
I think that would have been better.
Or if you have to have this new character be the audience insert, have them be interesting at all. Because this guy bored me to tears every time he was on screen.
It's
And
like,
not to mention his Arcana power is just a vibranium suit from Black Panther. That's it.
pretty much. Yeah, but it was so funny how like once he got it, he was like way better. But it's like I mean, like obviously it's a suit, but it's like I don't think he really got that much stronger. I mean,
he
got
got cool like stabby sticks.
I guess, but I'm
Can't
like
get hurt.
compared to like the other dude got freaking laser beams. I don't really think you're out here at least doing that much better. I feel like he kind of got the short end of the stick more or less, but
like Goro looked really cool. Like he actually visually looked good, you know, considering he was all CG. Like he looked better than I thought he would. But Goro, one of the most iconic characters from Mortal Kombat, getting beat up by this nobody who learned his power 2 seconds ago.
right?
And it's the most, like, kind of the most OP power there is. He just doesn't take damage. Okay. Like, that seems just, I didn't really like.
But I mean, it's obviously plot because, you know, plot. But
Yeah.
I mean,
So, going off the Arcana.
I mean,
thing,
yeah. Well,
oh, sorry, go.
oh no, I mean, the family wasn't that. Though the most realistic thing ever was when the mom is like, "Yeah, we're not sticking around for another one of those things to show up." I was like, that is the correct way to react in that situation. Yep. But other than that, it was kind of, they were just kind of bland, daddy, like it was just,
yeah,
we've seen it before.
Yeah. So, is Jax's power that he can? Would his power work if he didn't already have metal arms? Because his Arcana was his ability to enhance the metal arms that were given to him.
Yeah.
What would he have? What would his power have been had he not just been given the metal arms?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. I was like, so does he just not have a power, or was this like his power all along, or like
if he still had his arms, would he be?
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like
if he still had his arms, would he be able to just like generally enhance his muscle structure? Or
I don't know. I feel like they kind of like ruined their chance because like when they gave him the arms first, I feel like if he just didn't have arms and then they just kind of showed up, that would have made a little more sense. But
yeah,
then again,
especially since they didn't explain what they were.
Yeah,
like what his power was. You could just, he just created that alarm. Like, okay, sure.
Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, he's got like, but they were like really like wimpy arms at first, and it was kind of just like, all right, so is like this the finished product? Is this like, I mean, what was the intention? But it just kind of isn't explained until he just, oh, they're awesome now. It's like, all right, but I mean, how did we get here? But
I don't know. Like, there are some genuinely very cool moments in this movie. The opening, the Sub-Zero clan people attacking the Scorpions clan people. That was a genuinely pretty like good start to this movie. A lot of the action was pretty engaging, not fantastic for the most part, but like the fights that were good were very good.
Right.
Although it did kind of have the like Jason Bourne-esque editing where there's a lot of jump cuts and a lot of like for no reason.
I was gonna say the like Liam Neeson like cuts, like especially in a movie that's like based on a combat should be very, we see everything. It was very here, no cut here, no cut here, back out here, up in here, up close, back out. Like it was just kind of like I can't really tell what's going on, especially like when they had the knives. Really hard to tell what was going on until somebody was on the floor.
Yeah, like the fight that bugged me the most, it was also the best one in the movie, but it was the one that bugged me the most was the one at the end with Scorpion versus Sub-Zero.
Right.
First of all, I was terrified throughout the entire movie that Cole would turn into a Scorpion. Like I was terrified that like his Arcana would be he like able to like become Scorpion somehow.
Channel, like, yeah.
Luckily that didn't happen. But yeah, Scorpion appeared, him and Sub-Zero are doing their classic fight. Like it's doing a lot of moves from the game. Like it's honestly really cool how they're pulling off this. and like their fight specifically is actually edited very well, much better than their fight from, or like, you know, the interactions from the beginning of the movie. But then like every 12 seconds it would cut back to Cole just like trying to get his family out of the ice. I'm like, dude, just chill for 5 seconds. How about you help your grandpa over there or whoever? How about you help him kill the man that put him in the ice? Then you can get them out together. Not stop the movie to have you frivolously cutting this ice for no reason, just to cut back to the fun part. Like,
right? Like, I mean, yeah, it was always like shortcuts, and he's just staring at them. It's like, dude, like, I mean, also,
mm-hmm.
if that's like, they literally did like a symmetry, like a mirroring reflecting of like what the original Scorpion's family versus his family, but like his family didn't die.
His family didn't die. Yeah.
Yeah. What was up with that? Because I was like, if that's the same way he killed them, why are they fine?
I think he also stabbed the mom like in the first scene, but he didn't in this. I don't know why he didn't.
But I mean, even if he did stab him, like, wouldn't you like either suffocate or freeze to death or something? Like, your body would totally not survive that.
I guess Scorpion's fire made them better. I don't know.
I know it's not supposed to be like, but it was like they should have died.
You're
like,
right.
Straight up.
You're absolutely right.
Like, not that I want them, not like I'm rooting for the main character's family to get killed, but it's like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So like the best fight of the movie was at the very, very end. And I think that's like my absolute biggest issue with this movie, is that the movie's getting started. Like, you know, the opening sequence is actually pretty solid. Again, it kind of shows that this movie will have a lot of like editing issues, and like if you're not following very closely, you won't really see what's going on. But like as far as the actual fighting is concerned, it's fine. Like the intro is a very good introduction to what you'll see in this movie, and then we get like 20 minutes with Cole doing stuff, and then you know, Sub-Zero shows up. It's like, okay, it's about to get good. He fights Jax for a bit, like that was fine, and then, you know, the movie kind of like keeps going. It's like, okay, it's about Kano's here. It's about to get good. He's kind of annoying. Okay, he just kills Reptile. Yep. Okay, fine. Okay, like they finally get to start training with Kung Lao and Liu Kang. Like, okay, now it's about to get really good. That's where the movie kind of grinds to a halt, where it's just a lot of characters talking about stuff. Okay, so like the villains show up. Okay, finally, you know, Kano betrayed them. It's gonna get good now. It's getting a little better. It's fine. I mean, these fights are okay, I guess. I don't care about any of their characters yet, but like, maybe we'll get there. And then the climax happens, and then it's over.
Yeah, like, I feel like this movie really kind of ended abruptly too.
Yes.
Yeah, it just kind of like, all right, we made it. Because it's like, nope.
The entire time I was like, okay, so like the entire fight against Scorpion and Sub-Zero, I'm like, okay, so, you know, Scorpion is here now. He beat Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero was like the last mini boss, and then Cole and Scorpion are gonna meet up with the rest of the team. Them plus maybe even Raiden are gonna go fight Shang Tsung. Nope. Raiden's just like, Shang Tsung, go back home, and Shang Tsung's like, okay, and then leaves. It's like, what? You don't even attempt to fight
why
the
didn't
main
you just
villain
do that to start with?
I don't know. And like they kept like talking about this big tournament that's going to happen the entire movie,
and it never.
Not really. No.
Happened.
Also, they kept saying throughout the whole movie, like Liu Kang made it very, very clear, you three, or like you four, however many, like you are the only people on the planet. You are the only ones we could find that have Arcana ability. You are the only ones we found with the mark. Like if we don't train you guys to unlock your powers, we are screwed. And then after the movie ends, or I guess what like theoretically would be the after credit scene is Cole being like, I got to go to Hollywood to get Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage is just around, like, you know, he has.
Right.
Why wasn't he in the movie if you said that they're the only ones that have the ability? Like like the climax happened. They're like, okay, we need to go gather more troops, but like, why didn't you get them in the first place? I don't know. It was
Get about this, or did this not happen, or
yeah,
I
it
don't
was
get
just
it.
a very weirdly paced movie. Like like I said, it felt like it threatened to get good every 20 minutes and then just kind of didn't.
Yeah, you were
And
waiting for the moment where it got better, and then it kind of just wait, here it comes. No, wait, here it comes, and there it went.
it's over. The best fight at the very, very end, and even then it's fine. I like the one where like I like the little bit where Scorpion threw out uh his grapple, what's that called? The kunai on the chain, whatever, like out, and then Cole caught it and threw it back. That was neat. Like their combo Scorpion or Sub-Zero at the end was cool, I guess. Like
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean, like don't like even though like get over here, like it felt kind of like okay, cool, that's cool because like that's just the kind of, but like
why do you
that
say
was
it?
that would have been like the moment in the movie, and it was like a oh cool,
Yeah,
he did the thing,
he said it.
did the
Like
thing,
that was
yeah.
every single major reference to the games. Like, hey, he
And
said
it
it.
was in the trailer, which kind of
Yeah.
ruined it. I'm not gonna lie, because you were kind of just waiting for it to happen because you
Mhm.
knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah. Like I said, I wasn't expecting the Sub-Zero Scorpion fight to be the last like major beat of the movie, but because we have like 10 minutes left, like, oh, I guess that is the last beat of the movie, and then it was like, okay, um, whatever. Uh, I like I said, I liked some characters fine enough. Sonya and Jax, their relationship I thought was way more compelling than anyone else's in the entire movie. Sonya killing Kano was satisfying,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, that it's kind of weird how like yeah, the best weren't really focused on.
Yeah, and then after she kills Kano, she gets her power and then just shows back up and just shoots Melina. Melina's dead.
Yeah,
Like, okay.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but
Just,
it felt kind of that was
it's like
easy.
we missed
Like,
the scene where she learned how to use. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, because like usually it took people like it's. I mean, that was a big plot point. It apparently took them. I mean, who knows how long, but assumingly multiple days at least
Yeah,
to figure out how
yeah.
to use hers.
Like I didn't hate this movie per se. I think it's too short to hate, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's
Well,
only an hour
no.
and
Well, I
50.
mean, it can't. Hatred can be earned quickly. I'll put it that
That's
way.
fair, yeah. But like there's not a lot about it that would make me want to come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Not even in a way similar to Godzilla versus Kong, where like there are at least two major beats of that movie that like I want to rewatch again. I really
Mm-hmm.
don't even really care that much to rewatch the Scorpion versus Sub-Zero fight. Like it was fine,
Was
but I'd rather just
okay. I mean, the
play the
first
game.
one was honestly I thought was better.
Yeah,
Just
honestly, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, but other than that, everything else was kind of just like okay.
Whatever. Yet, this before this movie even came out, they already announced that there was going to be at least 4 more of these.
4.
Yep.
No doubt. Expert doubt. No way.
I
There's
mean,
4. I
yes.
mean, like they're like the way they like basically threw it in your face. There's a sequel. Yeah, okay, you can make a sequel, but 4. Come on, there doesn't need to
You
be
can
4 of
have
these.
3 max. You have
No, if you
you
have
have
more than 3, that's obnoxious.
like I know in the games the lore is insane. Like Sub-Zero comes back as a robot, Kung Lao comes back as a zombie. There are other elder gods that are going to show up later. there's like 20 million other random characters who are part of the tournament as well. Like, we haven't even seen Shao Kahn yet. Like there are major players in the Mortal Kombat series that we just haven't seen yet, you know, as far as this movie goes, that there is enough content for 4 more movies, but I don't want them. I don't think this movie earned that many sequels off the out of the gate. It's not. I don't trust it personally.
No, this does not need. No. No, this does not need 4. First of all, no. I mean, what movie ever gets 4 confirmed sequels? I mean, what's up with that?
Like, I mean, it's one thing for a Marvel actor to have like 9 movies in their contract because
actor.
Because at this point, you know, the Marvel movies are planned 10 years in advance, and they know they're going to get made because they've already made 10 years worth of movies. So like they know they already have the groundwork laid, and they know they're going to be good. Whereas here, there is no guarantee Mortal Kombat was going to be a good movie.
No.
It's a video game movie. So like already strikes against you.
Yeah.
B, wasn't a good movie. So like we already like see, you follow like you're following a character who's not even from the game, so you don't even really care about. Like if Cole isn't in future movies, I think it would be a great improvement. Like if we just had Johnny Cage be the main character, all for it.
Yeah.
Cole died along the way.
Like you said, just Sonya and Jax, just like their dynamic being the main like emotional, because you didn't care about the family one bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like it was they were trying to make emotion, like there was no emotional connection at all.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I know it apparently had the most watched premiere weekend on HBO Max with 3.8 million views on HBO, or 3.8 million households from the Friday to Sunday it first came out. So, you know, people saw it. I'm sure people at least had a decent reaction to it. It's doing decently for an R-rated movie at the box office, but I mean, I hope the people that like it continue to support the 4 sequel to King. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say about it before we move on?
No, I mean it was
yeah.
It was okay, I guess. But I mean, I feel like if you liked the games, it was okay. If you didn't,
yeah, like, but at the same time, if you liked the games, this was made for you. Yet I can't help but feel like you would just rather watch the cutscenes from the games, because that's basically what this was, a glorified giant cutscene of the game that you already played.
But like worse because the cuts of the fights were bad.
Yeah. So time to move on to our road to E3 2021. So E3 is less than a month away at this point. I think it's starting around June 12th-ish, somewhere around there. So yeah, E3 is always, you know, fantastic time for game enthusiasts. I like to think that we are that. Yeah, I like games.
I say so. Yeah.
So this week, I want to pitch to you a little game called Will It Be Shown? What I'm going to do is I'm going to run down a list of different games that have been shown at either E3 or other gaming events in the past. These are games that have had trailers before, but they have been missing in action for at least, you know, a while. And I just want to have a discussion about if we believe that these games will be at E3 this year.
Okay.
So, first game, we're going to start with the Ubisoft block, Beyond Good and Evil 2. So this game was first revealed back in 2008. Yeah, for all of these, I have when it was first revealed and when it was last seen. It was
Jeez.
a teaser trailer was revealed in 2008. It was like a 30-second teaser, had like this pig creature, and that was about it. Since then, we've had 2 major trailers. They were basically just movies for, like they were basically just movies. Like didn't show much gameplay or anything. There's no guarantee this game even exists outside of these movies. It was last seen in 2018. 3 years ago. That was a whole console generation ago.
Yeah.
Will it be seen at this year's E3?
Now, let's think about this. Originally, first of all, the 2008 thing does not help the original argument at all.
No, it does not.
But in recently, I say recent lightly, but it hasn't been even mentioned in the last 3 years. So my thing is like that's something like if you're gonna if it's something that's been teased for a while and then you jump to a new console, you usually bring it up then. So it's like
this is the first E3 since the new generation has started.
Right. Which is kind of what I'm thinking. So I'm like, if it's gonna come out, you're gonna see something this year. If you don't see anything this year, it's lost. So I will say it will be shown.
So you think it will be shown this year?
I think so, but we will see.
Yes. Here's my bold prediction. I think a Beyond Good and Evil game will be shown this year. I don't think it'll be called Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Okay. They're just kind of restarting.
Yeah, the trailers that we've gotten, it is technically a prequel to the first one, similar to Red Dead Redemption 2.
Mm-hmm.
And like Jade, the main character from the first game, was seen very briefly at the end of the last trailer we saw back in 2018. I wouldn't be surprised if since 2018, the game has taken a new, grander direction where they still keep very similar themes and similar ideas that they had for their original idea for Beyond Good and Evil 2, but it like it kind of has become something bigger than just a prequel. It's maybe even a sequel or some other, like, I don't think it'll actually be called Beyond Good and Evil 2. I think it'll be called Beyond Good and Evil something, or maybe even a reboot or something like that. I think that personally feels right because it has been in development for so long. Something similar happened with Final Fantasy 15. It was Final Fantasy Versus 13. They got rebooted into 15.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if I give it like a 90% chance that Beyond Good and Evil, a Beyond Good and Evil project will show up this year.
Okay. So we're on the same.
Yeah. The next one is Skull and Bones, that pirate game that was announced back in 2017. And I believe that was the last time.
I want to say I think that was it.
I believe every single year we've done E3 coverage where like they're gonna show that game again this year and it's gonna look even better, and it just kind of didn't show up.
Yep. Like this is the time. This is the year.
So in 2019, we didn't get a new trailer or anything, but the creative director of this game did come out and say that the game has taken a new direction and they have like a new vision for what they want it to be. So do you think we'll see that new direction 3 years later after it was last revealed?
Potentially, because again, there is a new gen with the PS5 and everything. Now, I know that I've seen some reports where it's like they're thinking like 20, so like it could be a minute, but it's possible.
Yeah.
However, I don't think it's likely this year.
Yeah. So here's a couple of things that make me wary that this game's even going to come out in the first place. First, this game only exists because the ship combat from the more recent Assassin's Creed games since Black Flag is like the best part of those games.
Yep.
They brought it back in Odyssey. I think they brought it back in Origins and then perfected it in Odyssey. But like even then, that's like on par with what it was back in Black Flag. Yet, this game really doesn't have everything you want out of ship combat. From what I remember from what it was revealed, essentially, like it's like an online multiplayer game where you and a couple of friends man one ship and fight other people who have ships and stuff. So it's like a lot of it is just like sailing at open sea and like shooting cannonballs at ships. And then when you board a ship, it's like a cut scene, and then you're on there you're like fight people on the ship and then you win. I think that will change, but I feel like at that point it's basically just what was good about Black Flag in its own game, which like isn't necessarily a bad idea, but I don't know, it seems a little derivative. Also, since Skull and Bones was announced, Microsoft has announced and released Sea of Thieves, which is also, a pirate game with like honestly a much better art style and more of what you really want from a pirate game. And that game is doing pretty well. I don't know if Ubisoft, like, I would be a little afraid of Ubisoft trying to like differentiate Skull and Bones from that. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we'll see. But I don't know. I mean, like you said, is it really enough to make a whole game based on like one aspect? Granted, a very good aspect of a previous game, but like, why not?
Yeah, like I think the main thing that like my hang up with the concept of this game is that it seems to be like an online only multiplayer focused game, whereas like the reason why the Assassin's Creed Black Flag is so good is because it does have this story that is really good. If they just focus more on the pirate story aspect, that could also help differentiate it from Sea of Thieves, since that is also an online I don't know if it's online only, but that is also like an online focused game. If they did focus more on story, I think that could help it out quite a bit. But I give that one a 65% chance of showing up this year.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, like I would not be shocked if it didn't.
Right, but it's also not a sure thing either.
Yeah, I know. So here's another. Funnily enough, here's another thing that like kind of disproves that, but also this has happened before. At a recent Ubisoft earnings call thing, when talking about their future plans, they actually mentioned Skull and Bones as a potential next year release, but they didn't mention anything about Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Interesting. Okay, maybe we've got this mixed up.
Maybe I just remembered that, but I'm still sticking to my guns that Beyond Good and Evil has a higher chance because it seems like a more ambitious title that they want to show, especially if they do prioritize next gen systems, they want to emphasize the next gen-ness of this game.
Right.
Last little bit for the Ubisoft games, Rainbow Six Quarantine. So
probably want to change that name.
Yeah. This game was announced back in 2019 to be released early 2020.
Ooh.
I think it clearly never meant to release then anyway, since we hadn't gotten a trailer for it between June of 2019 and then early 2020. But I think since restrictions are being lifted and quarantine is mostly over at this point, it wouldn't be as weird if they talked about a Rainbow Six Quarantine, but I do agree. I think that name might be changed.
They might have. if they don't change the name, they're gonna have to wait because that's just gonna be kind of too on the nose for most. I think.
Yeah.
Just from a marketing standpoint, I mean, you know this. Like that's just not gonna.
Like unless they like try to be relatable about it, but Ubisoft is bad when it comes to jokes. Just every time any Ubisoft press conference has tried to make a joke, it never lands. Like very similar to Beyond Good and Evil, I do think a new Rainbow Six game will be shown. I don't think it'll be called Rainbow Six Quarantine.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Moving on to the Square Enix portion. Final Fantasy 16. It was revealed last summer in 2020. Do you think, like with like a full-on voice acted trailer, so theoretically it's closer to being finished than Square Enix is used to showing games off. You know, usually they show off a game, comes out 7 years later. Do you think that's the case where they essentially just made the trailer that we got was all that is done of the game, or do you think it's further along?
Oh no, absolutely. The trailers, everything like this is Square, guys. Like we're not gonna let's not just assume they're getting it together. Like,
yeah, because now that I think about it, Kingdom Hearts 3 was Kingdom Hearts 3 was re-announced back in 2013. Didn't come out until 2019.
Yep.
And the 2013 trailer had voice acting and stuff. So
there's no they have bumpkins right now. I would bet my bottom dollar on that for sure.
There's a decent chance of it showing up, but we won't get a release date. Does that seem fair?
Okay, maybe you might get something like maybe a small tip, but even that I don't know because I mean these games tend to like disappear and then reappear and it's coming out now in development. It's like I thought this was in development like 2 years ago.
No, we changed engines completely. It's fine. Well, why did you change engines? Like, do you not know how to make Final Fantasy games anyway? Because like that happened with both Final Fantasy 15 and Final Fantasy 7 remake. They changed engines mid-development.
Yep.
Why did this happen twice?
They don't know what they.
I don't
know, but
because Final Fantasy 7 remake got announced in 2015. Heard nothing about it until 2017. Heard nothing about it until 2019, and then it came out in 2020. So yeah, it's possible we'll hear something, but I'm not expecting it like much. Or I would be shocked if it got a release date. I would, yeah.
I would doubt it. Like, I mean, if it does, I mean, that's great for them, but I severely doubt it, personally.
Yeah. Kind of tied to that, I know we haven't technically gotten a trailer for this game yet, but do you think it's possible that Final Fantasy 7 Part 2 will be touched on at all this year?
I honestly, I think that has more of a chance than Final Fantasy 16 personally. Just because I know there's I know it's supposed to be a PS5 exclusive, as I've heard, which is so not okay, by the way.
I mean,
like that's not okay in my opinion.
The new systems are out, like they're
but you don't have to do that.
They're porting like 7 to it. So
like no, they did not have to do that. That was absolutely unnecessary.
Like
but yeah, I mean I think I don't think we'll get much, but I see it more as we get a little something for part 2 of 7, not instead of 16. I don't think 16. I don't know. I don't see it happening that way.
I think there is a 75% chance of one of these games being there.
Okay, yeah, I'd go for that.
30% chance of both of them. 75% chance of one of them being there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely see that. I don't see both of them. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe Square surprises us and just teases us on two things that won't come out anytime
Like, I
soon.
know there are a bunch of other Square Enix games that need to be talked about, and that Platinum Games, Square Enix collaboration in Babylon's Fall. That I think was talked about last year at some Sony event. So like that still hasn't had a release date. There's a couple of other games here and there that could be big for them. So like they most likely have stuff to talk about, if not or even like, you know, a brand new Kingdom Hearts spin-off thing. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. Let's see. Next up, that Suicide Squad game.
Mm-hmm.
So because the main, I don't think I would have put this on here if Gotham Knights hadn't been delayed into next year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think either Gotham Knights or Suicide Squad will show up at a major press conference, or do you think they would save any info of that for the DC fandom?
They would do both. Honestly. One of them would get at least touched on at E3 just because, you know, it's E3. But obviously, I think they would save their bigger stuff for like the DC fandom because it's like, this is our event. But
yeah,
I think they still give something in there because like it is, you know, Rocksteady's back potentially, you know, especially for the Justice League or Suicide Squad kill the Justice League, and like, you know, that's like a, you know, that's a pretty, you know, that's a pretty big problem. I think people would be interested to hear something about it. I don't think it'll be a lot, but I think it'll be, you know, enough or something like, hey, we didn't forget about this.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't expect more than another CG trailer if Suicide Squad was at E3. If Gotham Knights were to show up, I would expect an extensive gameplay trailer.
Yes. Which we've seen a good amount of gameplay, but it's like, I definitely want to see more. Like,
yeah, even though I would prefer to see gameplay of Suicide Squad because we literally haven't, you know, seen anything from the game itself, and I really don't know how the Suicide Squad, you know, plays together and whatnot. But I'm not expecting anything. I would expect something more at the DC fandom. I believe that's in October, I think. But yeah, I'm not expecting anything. Not expecting anything Suicide Squad as of the end of E3.
Right. Okay.
Next up, Elden Ring. It's the new FromSoft Games game, the guys that made Dark Souls. It was first revealed back in 2019. And yeah, hasn't been talked about since. Yeah, do you think that'll be here?
Well,
keep in mind, this is the game that George R.R. Martin is attached to. The guy that has been working on the, I think, sixth or seventh Song of Ice and Fire book for 10 years. He's been working on the newest Game of Thrones book for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably taking up his time a good bit, you don't say.
So why on earth would why would FromSoft agree? And B, why would he be like, yeah, I got time to do this other project?
Yeah, I've got time.
No one else, there's no expectations for me right now. Like, why not just work on this other project that also is never going to come out? Like,
yeah, I mean, yes. Somehow I don't see that going ideally, but yeah, I doubt it. But I mean, anything's possible. Maybe a little. I mean, it might get a mention or something. But I mean, I doubt it.
It is absolutely not coming out this year.
Oh, no chance.
No, but seeing gameplay of it is likely. Well, seeing another trailer for it is likely. I don't know if gameplay necessarily is. Although Dark Souls games are like primarily known for their gameplay, so I guess showing how this game is different from other FromSoft games would be advantageous on a big stage like that. But also, I think Elden Ring was voted on to be the most anticipated game of 2021 last year at the Game Awards. That was, that was a fan vote thing. So like, if they have anything to show, they should show it. But we'll see if they do.
Doubt it. But I mean, do you really think they have anything?
I mean, they've been working on it for supposedly 2 years.
Yeah, that was a keyword. Supposedly.
Yeah. I think probably, honestly, the main reason why we probably haven't seen anything from this game yet is they probably have marketing rights tied with Microsoft, similar to Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, because that was announced at a Microsoft thing. And we've had, Sony State of Plays and the Game Awards and a couple other like major press conferences where this game should have shown up at, but it didn't, because there hasn't been any major Microsoft, digital event thing since I believe last August. I think they just haven't had an opportunity to really show it. If it's not at Microsoft's E3, it's not happening. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. I think this has a 65% chance of showing up.
Really? You give it that much?
Yes. Yeah. I'll go with that. 65%.
Okay. I was thinking like a solid like 35. Honestly.
Okay, yeah, that's also fair.
That's like, I was like 65 is kind of generous, but I mean,
if we combine numbers together, that's 100.
100% chance of it coming out, not this year.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I have Hollow Knight Silk Song on here. I think I talked to you about this before. It was originally going to be DLC to Hollow Knight, but then became so big it kind of spun off into its own separate game.
Became its own game, yeah.
Yeah, that was announced back in 2019. But mere hours before we started recording, it was actually announced that it would not be at E3 this year.
Oh, well, that ruins it.
Yeah. So no.
Did they say why?
They didn't. As far as I could tell, they didn't really give a good reason. They're just like, what? Development is still going strong. We just don't have anything to show right. Like,
doesn't sound like it's going that strong, man.
I don't.
If this went from basically DLC to its own thing, I mean, granted, that would you need to add stuff, but like, I mean, you'd still have the DLC to show at least, right?
Like you already have the engine down. The character models are all already
right.
The gameplay is set, unless you drastically change everything. I know they are an indie studio, so like I guess they don't have as much budget and resource to make it work, but I don't know. Like that one's a mystery. Like once that game comes out, it will be amazing because Hollow Knight is very good, but so I guess take all the time you need, but it's just weird that this game has been in the mind's eye for over 2 years now, and we just haven't had anything to show for it.
Oh, right. Well. Just like, all right. But
yeah. Now onto the Bethesda corner, which I guess is now technically the Microsoft corner as well. Weird, because Microsoft owns them.
Yeah.
What do you think are the chances of Starfield showing up at this year's E3?
That would be cool.
That was the game that they announced this back in 2018. Nothing more than a logo. Like this is the next, major Bethesda Softworks game that we're making.
Starfield.
Yeah. 3 years ago.
Yeah. But see, there's the thing. It's like when that's all you give, the bar is so low that just anything is like a huge deal. So I feel like they don't, they could really just throw something together at the last minute and just be like, oh, we'll show this at E3. They'll go crazy. And then they probably will. So I'd say there's a pretty decent chance we get something, at least like a short mention, 30 seconds, who knows. But,
Yeah. I think because this will be the first E3 since Microsoft purchased Bethesda. But Microsoft will want something big to show, like this huge Bethesda game is going to be Microsoft exclusive. This is only going to be on Xbox and Windows, not your PS4 or PS5, whatever. If they have stuff to show for Starfield, I would show it to be like, here's what we got. This is what we have to show for that, I think, $10 billion purchase we get.
Right. Like, whenever you make a big investment, like you want to make some like initial, okay, this is kind of the direction we're thinking about going, like that first splash.
Exactly. So I think 90% chance of that showing up. Like the only reason that it doesn't show up is if like the file gets corrupted when they're trying to export it into the main video. That's the only reason it's not showing up.
Like they have to. I mean, I feel like they have to give something, because it's like, this is exactly what you just invested in. You have to give it.
Yeah, like especially since major support for Fallout 76 stopped after 2019. Like I don't know if anyone even plays that anymore. Not that anyone ever should. Like it got a little better after launch, but it never really got as good as it should have gotten. Like they've had at least 2 years of dedicated Starfield action to work on, so I think they'll have something to show for that. What about Elder Scrolls 6? Also revealed at 2018, immediately after they teased Starfield.
Right. They should, because the Elder Scrolls series is, awesome. But will they? Maybe not. Should they? Yes. Definitely. Will they? I say like 50-50. I don't know. Because they should.
It's so weird to me that they announced Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 together in the first place. Considering they knew that Starfield would take years to make, why did you go ahead and reveal the one after Starfield? Like, why did you do that?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, maybe they're kind of just prepping you for like, it's gonna be great, but you just gotta wait on it.
But why bother announcing it at all? Why not just focus all in on Starfield? Like once Starfield is more ready, you can then start talking about the next game. But I don't know. That one I give a 10% chance of.
Yeah, it's like, I can't. We can't understand what people are thinking. Like,
okay, let me put this. Todd Howard will come up on stage and if he does have something to show about Starfield, he'll give a big spiel about Starfield and then mention the name Elder Scrolls 6 and then move on. He'll just say it's still in development and then move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it won't be like it'll just be like, oh yeah, this is happening.
Yep.
Or not. That is all.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, okay then.
Okay, so moving on to I believe the last little like chunk of stuff I have, the Nintendo Corner.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Mm-hmm.
This was revealed earlier this year in February. It is the game to come out after the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's revealed to come out in early 2022. Do you think this will show up this year at E3?
Yeah, I mean, if it's supposed to show up early next year, probably, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I do know that almost every single year without fail, there's been a major like Pokemon Presents thing like a week or two before E3.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very, very likely that like there will be a Pokemon Presents and then they'll have a blowout of major changes for Diamond and Pearl remakes, and then also like a little bit of Legends Arceus. Because I know last year at this Pokemon Presents thing in June, they announced Pokemon Snap, and that just recently came out. So like they aren't at those kinds of events. They aren't.
Mm-hmm.
They're no stranger to announcing games that aren't, or talking about games that aren't going to come out for a little while. So I don't think it'll necessarily be at E3, but it will be shown by the end of June. By the time E3 ends, we'll have seen it. That makes sense.
Yeah, and like it'll be, and it doesn't have to be like a ton. Like I think it'll be, because there's probably like a direct or something that'll be happening. Most certainly, like go in extensively, but like just for E3, just to be like, oh hey, we're here too. Like it'll be enough.
Yep. Bayonetta 3. It was announced at the Game Awards in 2017.
Kind of it, isn't it? I haven't really heard. Have they talked about it since then, really?
Technically, yes. Every single interview, Hideki Kamiya, the like main guy at Platinum Games, every single time he's interviewed, people ask him about Bayonetta 3, and he always says, development is going smoothly. More to reveal later. For the past 3 years.
That's code for we got bumpkins right now. I'm sorry. Like, I mean, we're smarter than this. Like, I doubt it. It would be nice, but I don't think so. It's one of the, I'd say like 40%, because it's one of those things that you don't think, but if it did, that's awesome.
Like,
but you're not going to hold up.
I would be willing to say 75 to 80 if they didn't also have just released Near Replicant Remaster, if they didn't also have Babylon's Fall, if they didn't also just finish porting A Wonderful 101 everywhere, if they didn't just finish with Astral Chain a couple of years ago, like Platinum Games seems to, like they're a relatively small team. Like they're for the amount of quality games they make, their team is very small relative to that. So, and also their B team also making like licensed stuff. So if Babylon's Fall had come out already, I would have a much higher reason to think that Bayonetta 3 were close to done, but I wouldn't be surprised if other stuff is taking priority over there. So in actuality, I'll say 40%. I like hopes are a little high, but like I'll be surprised if it does show up. Yeah.
You think so? Like, yeah, it's like it's one of the like probably not, but like we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I feel about it, but we'll see again. Yeah, hopefully we're pleasantly surprised.
Like, Metroid Prime 4 announced in 2017. Last we heard of it was in 2019, January 2019, when they came on with that 2-minute video where they're like, yeah, we had to restart.
Yeah.
to restart development completely. 2019.
Yeah, that is not a good sign, but I don't think that means that they have nothing. I think they could show something still, because like, again, it's been, this is going on 2 years. But again, going on, it's understandable. You didn't hear anything, and that kind of maybe if they use their time wisely, I don't know how much they could have with like everything going on with COVID, but it's like there's a potential they could probably have something once they figured out where they're going with it. So I'd say there's a pretty decent chance.
Yeah, especially since it is Retro Studios making this. They made the original Prime trilogy. I know a lot of that team isn't there still, but like, they have a lot of assets lying around. They just essentially need to kind of like upscale them to HD. People that are still there that worked on Metroid Prime, like they should generally know how to do a good Metroid game. Like I imagine not 100% of the stuff that was being made internally at Nintendo was scrapped entirely. I probably Retro would be able to take some assets out. So like 2 years isn't unreasonable to see something. I don't think it'll come out this year, but seeing like an initial teaser trailer at least, I think is possible, and then like a 2022 release date. Yeah, I do think that there will be some Metroid project announced, or maybe even like multiple. I do think a 2D Metroid game has been rumored for a while now, which is my preferred way to play Metroid.
Yes. But then again, probably. Yeah.
But so yeah, I think if Metroid Prime 4 isn't there, it will be mentioned saying, Metroid Prime 4 is in development, is still going very steady on it. We don't have anything to show for it right now, blah, blah, blah. But here's this other Metroid thing to tie you over, and as like a 2D, like Super Metroid remake or some other 2D Metroid game that still looks very, very good, but not actually Metroid Prime 4. So I'll give this a 70% chance.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking more like 80, honestly, but that's fine too.
Yeah. I'll say 95% chance of something Metroid, 75%-ish of Prime 4.
I'd agree with that.
Breath of the Wild 2. This is the last one on here. Breath of the Wild 2.
Definitely.
Definitely. Yeah.
Definitely. Because like it's the sequel to like the game of games, supposedly. So like, I think so.
Yeah. Like, especially since this is Zelda's 35th anniversary.
Right.
They've already kind of started the celebrating with Skyward Sword remaster coming out in July. Like, they didn't talk about it at all last year. I know, like you said earlier, COVID probably halted development in some places, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if, very similar to 2018, where it was like a 50-minute direct, 30 minutes of that was Smash stuff. I would not be surprised if it's like 50-minute direct, 20 minutes of that is just deep dive into Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
95% chance that game is being shown this year. 95% chance.
Yeah, I was going to say 100. Like, they have to.
I don't
if they didn't, people would be upset. Like, they have to.
Yeah, like, it's like, especially since Nintendo doesn't usually announce games that far out in advance. Of like, Metroid Prime 4 was probably supposed to come out within like a year and a half of it being announced. Until it got scrapped. Like, it, although actually now I think about, Breath of the Wild was actually announced in 2014 and then didn't come out until 2017. So it's not uncommon for Zelda games to have like a massive delay between announcement and release. But especially since, actually very similar to Hollow Knight, Silksong, since this is just using the same engine and same world and same pretty much everything as Breath of the Wild, it should have been in a very like quicker turnaround, but I don't know, maybe like they found a brand new direction, a new like a new grander idea to make the greatest game ever even greater. I don't know, like,
yeah,
I would honestly be a little worried about it if it doesn't show up this year,
right? Because it's kind of like, what's going on, like,
yeah.
Especially when you have the chance to pretty much be the story of E3 and then you just choose not to. It's like, why would you do that?
Yeah. Like, essentially, here's my mindset. If Breath of the Wild miraculously doesn't show up, Bayonetta 3 and Metroid Prime 4 guaranteed are showing up, if that makes sense. Like, if Breath of the Wild shows up, I don't think...
To make up for it.
Pretty much, yeah. Because, like, hey, those two games were announced well before Breath of the Wild 2 did. Mm-hmm. Also, like, if none of those games come out, even if the rest of the direct is fantastic, even if we do get a slew of fantastic games, revivals of old IPs, just a bunch of cool stuff, if none of those 3 games are there, people will call it a crap direct. So they need at least one of those in there. At least mention it, or teaser trailer or something.
And I think they will. Yeah, they have, and I think they will. I think they know that too, because it's like, look, guys, we know what everyone's here for. Like, I mean, not everyone, but like, we know this is the game that even the diehards are like, not the even the like casuals are like, where's it at? Like, like everyone's
exactly.
Here for
like, I think Breath of the Wild 2 has a 95% chance of showing up, and then in the end of the trailer it'll say March 2022. I think they'll give a hard release date.
Okay, and that would be really cool to see, honestly, because like, yeah, I don't, like, I think everyone's excited for it.
Yeah. Like, literally, like, not everyone, but I think Breath of the Wild has like almost a 1 in every 3 people who owns a Switch has this game attachment rate.
Probably.
I think Breath of the Wild has like 21 million sales, while the Switch itself has over 84 million. So yeah, almost a third attachment rate. Oh, sorry, a quarter. That's a quarter. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
still
like pretty
very
yeah.
good.
And I feel like that's true with I feel like that's true with a lot of like the Mario Karts and like Smash. It's like, if you have a Switch, you probably have this game.
Mario Kart has sold 35 million, Animal Crossing 32, Mario Odyssey 20, Pokemon Sword and Shield 21-ish. Like Switch sells games.
Oh yeah, no. Like if you have a Switch, you have the essentials. It's like, what else did you get? Is the real question.
So, like, hopefully they can position Metroid Prime 4 to also be one of those essential games, because, like, if Metroid Prime 4 doesn't sell well, like Metroid games never tend to do fantastic. They do fine enough, but like they never do fantastic.
Right.
If Metroid Prime 4, they can position that to be like, one of those 10 to 20 million seller, that would be very impressive. And I think the series would be much better for it.
I think so, yeah. And I think, like bring Metroid kind of to the same level that like Mario, Zelda,
Animal Crossing, Splatoon,
and all the others are.
Yeah. So yeah, like this E3, if even half the games we talked about today are there, it's gonna be like one of the best E3s ever. Like it's
and like it's something about the like. I loosely say post COVID because we're still in it, but like you know what I mean. Like like it kind of it's like I feel like this E3 is gonna have a much like more. I think.
Yeah, especially honestly. I am more excited for this year's E3 because it is all digital. I think watching big press conferences with huge crowds that like with after Microsoft introduces every new speaker, they walk out onto the stage to people cheering for 30 seconds, and then technical difficulties and people giving long-winded speeches. Like digital events can essentially give you what a live press conference can give you in half the time. Like last year's Microsoft event was an hour and a half. Easily could have been 40. Like, so the fact that it will, every press conference will be all digital, we'll be able to get more games faster. Like, I think that's honestly more exciting to me. So yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
I'm for it.
Yeah. So is there anything else about the stuff we talked about today, or anything else you want to discuss? You want to bring up?
Just not really. Just E3 is coming up. Life's good. I'm excited. We'll see how Batman. Oh, I also also Batman: The Long Halloween movie is supposed to come out next month.
Right.
I know that's. I'm excited about that. It looks interesting. The animation looks interesting. I don't hate it, but I don't necessarily love it yet. But we'll see.
I don't love it as much as I was hoping I would, but I hate it. It looks very similar art style to that new Superman and then the Justice Society of America movies that are either out or coming out, like the new like DC animated universe movies.
Yeah. Do you think they're gonna make a new universe again?
That kind of seems to be the general vibe I'm getting. Like I know, like since the Superman movie and the Justice Society movie have very similar art styles, and I think the Barry Allen that's in. Actually, I think both Jay Garrick and a Barry Allen are both in that Justice Society.
I think
movie.
So. Yeah.
I think that Barry Allen has the same voice actor that's been there since since before, like since Flashpoint. I think. I think it is just a continuation kind of this grander DC extended universe story that they're telling. And I think,
so probably. But yeah, if they do set it up, it's okay. I feel like they make this a whole universe right after the other one. It's like, wow, that was fast. But like,
yeah, the only thing I'll miss is outside of kind of Batman specifically, like the art style for the New 52 movies is kind of ideal. Like just the way every character is designed, the way things like move, just the way things look in general was kind of ideal. I'm gonna miss that. Like the Superman Man of Tomorrow is good. There's just something. It just felt a little not weightless, but like something just didn't feel as epic about it as opposed to the New 52 ones.
Yeah,
like
that's
him
fair.
fighting Lobo was a good fight. It just didn't have the veracity or the like. I don't know. There's something that's slightly off about it when compared to him fighting
Yeah.
Doomsday or whatever.
It feels way more hand drawn.
Which I'm okay with.
Right. Not bad. It's just like the last. No, I'm not saying that, but it's like the last universe felt very like animated, but like could very easily you could see that being live action.
Yeah.
Versus
Weirdly
this
enough,
one's
I do
it's on a page.
I do think this art style will benefit Long Halloween more than it does Superman and Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Like this more hand-drawn art style is more reminiscent of the Batman animated series. So at least from what I can tell from Long Halloween trailers, I think this art style benefits Batman more than the other two. So
okay, I can see that.
So yeah, that's like I said, end of June. That's exciting. I assume it'll just be on HBO Max.
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, and I think part 1 and part 2 just got a new trailer, which is kind of weird because part 1 hasn't even come out yet.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay,
cool. But yeah, it looks more of the same, so it looks good. But it's just like, all right, I guess we'll see. Like
Troy Baker's back as Joker.
Yeah,
that's a win.
Always a win. And it sounds. Well, I was like, that's not Mark. No, it's not. But it kind of sounds like it. Like. Cool. You wouldn't know if I didn't tell you. Like, I want to see if my brother would notice because, like, he's always like, "Oh, that's Mark Hamill." It's like, actually, not. He's like,
yeah.
Respect, but we'll see.
But yeah, very excited for Batman Cape Crusader. Interested to see how the Warner Discovery merger will shake out.
Mm-hmm.
Excited for E3. Mortal Kombat could have been better, but you can't win them all. You can't win them all, I guess. Yeah.
Can't win them all.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I've got.
Okay. So with that, we will see you all next time.
Take care, everybody.